Hello, everyone. Just to do some brief introductions here. My name is Michael Halford. I am a payroll account manager with Greenshades Software. And some of the quick talking points about me, I'm kind of an expert in payroll and HR sales. I've been doing this for about 4 years now. I also have some background in retail store management back in my days with AT&T. So that gives me some pretty good experience as far as employee management, development and retention, as well as attracting new hires. So that's just a quick snapshot about me, and then I'll turn it over to Jerica.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jerica Holtzen. I'm a product marketing manager here at Greenshades. Been here close to 2 years. I am a payroll and HR product expert. I have some previous history in rolling out HCM software, so training employees on the payroll, HR, scheduling side of things. And then, like Michael, I have some experience in the retail management space.
All right, so let's just go over quickly here. I don't think we have a really long section scheduled for today, but just to talk about the agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about the strategic role of payroll and HR when it comes to employee growth and mental wellness, and then how we could use some of the pieces that we here at Greenshades can offer to help optimize your employee development and increase workplace satisfaction and just overall support employee well-being. And then once we kind of get through those topics, we'll wrap up, and then we'll have some time left over for questions and answers if you have any. So let's talk about the strategic role of payroll and HR. So when it comes to employee growth and mental wellness, payroll and HR can really play an integral role in helping you identify indicators that you're looking for in order to strengthen employee growth and give your employees a better sense of mental well-being, happier at their workplace, and ultimately more likely to stay with your company. So we want to really see what it is to understand that key role in crafting the better workplace. So let's start with compensation and benefits. Obviously investing in competitive pay and comprehensive benefits, it's not just a financial decision, but it's really comes to more of a strategic way to look at how you can create a better work environment where your employees love to be working with you and want to stay. So that's really what we talk about when we're talking about a satisfied workplace. So here you see that we have 64% of employees stated an increase in pay and benefits is very important when considering a job. That's a big shocker, right? Everybody wants to be paid more. So, when they have better pay and better benefits, that's probably going to have them, select some companies over others when they're looking at a place to go to. So really, though, that's also not just for new hires, but also overall employee satisfaction throughout their time with you. So really influenced by various factors, but pay and benefits is very fundamental.
Michael, I think you make a great point there. You see a lot of people who are leaving a workplace after just a year or two to get a higher salary. They feel like they're not getting it from the place where they work. So I think you make a great point to say it's not just about when employees are coming into the company, but it's about the compensation and benefits throughout their employment too.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And one of the other things that we don't really talk about as much is that initial, salary and the benefits that they get for the role that they hire into. But what happens when they're looking to have some upward mobility? There might be access to better pay and benefits that they don't know about with just a little bit more education and development. So, and then professional advancement, which is a great segue. So 86% of employees say they'd switch jobs for one with more chances to grow. So that's really, especially in the professional atmosphere, you have a lot of folks at different stages in their career path who are looking to, either stay where they're at, they're pretty complacent, but most of the time you're having a lot of folks who are looking to develop and grow into larger roles. And so being able to promote that career development opportunities not only enhances their satisfaction, but also drives organizational success. You're home growing your own people, that's less people you have to bring in externally that you have to retrain and go through all the process for. So that's something that can really, drive in engagement with your employees and enhance opportunities for them as well. And then this one I think is really important, fostering a positive workplace culture. Culture plays a pivotal role, satisfaction and mental health for the employees and the organization. By addressing those specific needs, you can cultivate a more engaged and productive team, and then also increase and enhance your retention. So, I think that probably everybody has an experience at some point in their life where they work with a company where they didn't, maybe mesh with the culture very well. And chances are that probably led to you not wanting to stay with that company very long and move on and look for different opportunities. So any chance that you have to enhance the culture and reduce that burnout and stress in the workplace is a real positive for your company as well as for your employees. So it's a really big and key and integral piece in my eyes.
I definitely agree, Michael. I think we underestimate how much time we really spend in the workplace. And if you're spending that much time at any location, you want to be happy, you want to feel valued, you don't want to feel workplace stress. So I think this is a really big thing, and it explains why people will leave so quickly. They feel like the culture isn't in alignment with themselves.
Sure. Yeah. And this can look different for every workplace, particularly based upon the roles that they have. It can look different for somewhere that's fully in office or that has hybrid or remote workers. Culture can look different to those types of people who are not always in the complex or in the building all the time, where you have to make sure that they're feeling valued and appreciated as far as from a culture standpoint.
Agreed.
So, payroll and HR contribution to well-being. How can we use the tools at our disposal for payroll and HR to kind of help with some of these talking points that we've talked about? So, for payroll, really what we're looking at is the data that we have there. You can track pay trends, commissions, differences in work amounts and hours worked, that type of thing, to see which employees are performing or underperforming, and which deserve maybe a raise or something along those lines. HR, your employee development and engagement is kind of key and focus with HR there. HR is, there's lots of great tools to help you manage your business, but it's also managing your employees and helping your employees manage themselves through HR as well. So those are really key things to take a look at. Employees, when they have a fully fleshed out HR solution that they can have access to and see different paths to where they can, increase their development on their own as well as ask for help. I think for me, at least, that's been a really key piece to making myself happier in the workplace. And then, of course, benefits. Benefits are always talked about. You want to make sure that you're staying competitive, because that's definitely an attractant for new hires as well as for existing employees when they're looking at maybe prospective opportunities outside. If they find an opportunity that has more competitive benefits than what you're currently offering, that might be an incentive for them to make a move, or vice versa. So definitely something to keep in mind. All right. So how do we optimize employee development? Let's look at how we can uncover opportunities for growth using payroll software. So what are some ways that you think we can do that? One of the things that we can talk about is we have employee development opportunities for training and development, which is key to retaining talent. So using the payroll software that we have, you can identify trends within the business using analytics tools or reporting to see where you might have, surpluses in areas or maybe shortcomings in others. And you can use that to administer training, maybe set up mentors, create networking opportunities, but overall just get kind of that continuous feedback so you know what you need in order to drive success for both yourself and your employees. And talking about things like an educational budget and tuition reimbursement, those are incentives as well. When employees see that they have options for like stipends or things like that for reimbursement to help them self-develop, I mean, for me, that's a great incentive. And I think that other people would certainly agree.
I definitely agree with that. We see a big increase of this last bullet becoming popular, especially as we see student loan debt start to kick back in. And then on top of that, a lot of people are wanting to expand their knowledge. My sister just got a new job and they offer some educational budgets, as well as here we are in Greenshades, who also we get an educational budget to help us expand our knowledge. So I think this is a really big one that's growing in popularity.
Yeah, it's really a great thing. And a lot of companies, Greenshades included, doesn't necessarily have to be direct focus on your specific role at the time for those educational opportunities. It could be something for where it's actually taking a class, like say at a college, or even just an individual class that's one-off that you're looking for self-development. If you can support those different ways, you make your employees feel valued and you bring value back to your company because you're expanding the knowledge of your workforce.
Yes.
I agree with you. Okay. So taking a look at this list here, these are different ways that we can think of as on the Greenshade side to talk about development opportunities within payroll. So some of the things that are pretty obvious, tracking overtime, seeing where you have employees who are going above and beyond and maybe need to be compensated in a different way. Project accounting is another big one that's really hit the industry full force, especially in the last year or two, where taking a look at making sure that you're paying for different projects and different jobs and accounting for those, but that also shows the data and information on where maybe you can move things around, change organization to improve and get better overall so your employees don't feel overworked or overstressed. Analyzing piecework, who is working fast, who needs more help. These are ways that we can, track and identify these kinds of trends. Tip earnings is pretty cool. Who's performing well, bringing in a lot of tips. That maybe shows you who's, in line for more development, whether it's, improvement or more development where maybe they can move upwards because they're performing so well. And then cross training. I think that's a pretty obvious one, but if your employees are looking to advance in their roles, being able to cross train across different departments and different roles helps them, one, feel valued, makes them feel important, but also start setting them up for success for something that might open up, either now or in the future. And last thing, analyzing all these trends that we've kind of been talking about, finding ways through reporting and analytics to identify key factors so that you can put the pinpoint on there and know where you need to focus or set initiatives is a big thing too.
Yeah, I love this piecework point. Back when I was in retail management, I was over like grocery, my stockers, and what I would do is when like openings came up for either full-time positions or maybe for lead stalker, I would go back and look at the amount of pieces they're putting up per truck. So if I assign them an owl, I'm able to look at the hours they worked, look at how many pieces came in for that owl, and see who's moving productive so I can move them up or maybe have those type of conversations with employees who may be moving slower. So I think there's some really key things you can find inside payroll information that we don't necessarily think about when you think about development and job growth.
Yeah, that's a really good point. One of the other things that in line with that I've seen in my previous experience as a manager is taking a look at this data and analyzing it so you can see the piecework side of things and see who's performing well, who's maybe not. That also helps you set up something that we mentioned briefly a little bit ago, which is mentors. So if you take your top performers and you want to start grooming them for maybe management or where they would have experience with developing, you can set them up to mentor one of the people who maybe isn't performing so well and hopefully, just increase across the board that way, just by analyzing those trends.
Yes, I definitely agree. I think this all connects.
Okay, so just a couple of points here that we want to talk about, uncovering trends with payroll. So utilizing the data, that's kind of the big piece here. Payroll has a lot of data that's included within there, but sometimes we don't utilize it to the fullest, not knowing what we have really. So being able to take a look at things like salary analysis, review how that impacts retention, reduce the workplace burden. We talked about burnout. So examining trends over time to identify patterns so that you can see where some people might be feeling overworked, and being able to allocate differently to reduce that stress and that burden on certain departments. Cost forecasting, we talked about like the project accounting and the job costing, that can kind of be a piece of this here, but also using that historical payroll data to help forecast costs for the future, aiding so that you can get more accurate budgeting. And then employee efficiency is kind of the last one here. So taking that payroll data and linking that with other metrics that you have to measure productivity so you can discover those opportunities for advancement or even improvement. Or might not just be improvement for the employee individually, it might be improvement of processes overall to make things run more efficiently.
I think that reduced workplace burden one is a really unique call out. Really interesting when you think about it, because like you can look at seasons, maybe you're busier in the summer. So if you don't want your employees to feel burnt out in the summer, maybe you're hiring seasonal workers, or maybe you're slower in the winter. So how we kind of talked about in mentoring and cross training, maybe that's a good opportunity to shift some of your labor to cross training or having mentor programs. So that's a really interesting one to think about.
Yeah. And that's something that, just talking about the Greenshades side of things, if you're using our payroll, you have all of your historical payroll data from the beginning of your service with us. So you can take a look, not just over over year, you can go 5 years in the past if you're that far in, take a look at that data to see, how you've grown as a company and how you've allocated resources to accommodate that. And by resources, we might even be talking just straight number of employees, like you mentioned. Do you need to hire more seasonal workers at a certain period of time? What are your trends year over year as far as when you had a higher number of active employees versus lower? So these are all things that you can take a look at to kind of get better insights that go a couple of layers deeper. Good call out. Okay. And then just to kind of wrap up my portion of things here. So payroll and supporting software, these are kind of the network of systems, if you will, that most companies are going to interact with when it comes to payroll and accounting and HR. So obviously you have your ERP and accounting system, your time tracking and scheduling systems for managing employee hours, learning management systems to deliver training, payroll and HR software, of course, is going to be integral to your process of paying your employees, but also getting more insights and learning all this data. Applicant tracking systems for new hires. And then one thing that's more prevalent lately in the workplace is reporting software. That could be reporting just on straight data, but also there's a lot of analytics pieces out there that take that data, put it in, and give you better insights. And I think leveraging that kind of stuff right there is what helps drive some of these conversations for some of the other solutions, because you can see the gaps and fill in and figure out where you need to improve and create better processes. So being able to identify and understand the specific business needs can really help give you a better insight into how to operate. So that's just some of the things to talk about here. There's some other bullet points here, but I think I've given the kind of picture that I wanted to create there. So I think the question that I would want to ask myself, if I was, managing a business, or ask to you all here as the attendees, is taking a look at this. Where do you feel like you're really strong in using some of these systems and processes to help you beyond just the base level? And where do you think there's some things that maybe you haven't even thought about that could help you improve the process?
I think that's a great takeaway, Michael. And thank you so much for taking us through those payroll pieces.
Sure.
So now we're going to take a little shift into increasing workplace satisfaction and taking a shift into the HR software side of things. So ever since COVID, we have seen a shift in just how the workplace operates. A lot of people looking for workplace flexibility as we go into hybrid models, remote work options, and even we still have some in-office options there that people are having going on. And then looking for flexible and limited vacation days. This has also grown in popularity as people look for that flexibility in their work with having a nice work-life balance. We see that tops the list of what employees want. 9 times out of 10, it's always going to be the workplace balance, work-life balance. Creating creative pay options like earned wage access and pay cards. So in today's world, we know we have had at least 40% of Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck. So any way that the job can help with maybe giving access to their wages early, or options such as pay cards where they can get paid maybe up to 2 days early, is always something nice. And there's a lot of variations of earned wage access, right? So we have like same day pay, payday loans, a lot of different options out there. But with earned wage access, it is something you have to get through your employer. So it's a nice offering to offer to your employees, so they don't get hit with all those hard loan rates and interest rates. It's a nice option to offer through your employer. And then flexible work hours and locations. So we talk about remote work a lot and hybrid work a lot, but as we know, that's not an optional model for a lot of these workplaces. So for example, in retail, I would love to give my stockers a remote option, but they cannot stock shelves from the house. So maybe it's giving them their schedules in advance. So maybe it's 2 weeks in advance so they can plan better. I used to have my stockers work every other weekend, so rotating them out so they can have some time with their family. Same thing with holidays. If you work one holiday, maybe I give you the next one off. Even sending them to other stores to work. So just giving flexible options, which are hours and locations that aren't necessarily just hybrid or remote options.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I worked a long time in the retail space, and man, I wish I had a manager who would give me every other holiday or every other weekend off. That would have been a game changer. I might still be in retail. Who knows?
Who knows? It's such a demanding schedule. Oh gosh, it's such a demanding schedule, as I know you know, Michael. So any flexibility you can give people, they appreciate it.
Definitely.
And then we kind of talk about the remote and hybrid a lot. And it has changed the way that people look at the work office. So we're used to the work office being a place that we come into to get work done, to be productive, to focus, because maybe at home you have little distractions. But now we're starting to see that a workplace isn't just a workplace anymore. So I know I can speak from personal experience. When I worked hybrid, I would do my work at home, but the days I went to the office, of course, I'm going there to work. I have a job to do, but I'm also going there because I finally get to see my friends, finally get to have some human interaction, finally get to communicate with somebody that's not my dog. So a lot of people are looking for different experiences when they come into the office. It's not just the workplace. So this is a good time to think about your workplace culture, how you can enhance communication, foster relationships in the workplace, offer an engaging office experience. So maybe it is interactive workshops or cross department training, or how Michael mentioned mentorship before. So maybe you're going into the office and meet up with your mentor and get some advice and learn something new. So finding ways to make that commute worthwhile, just to increase the workplace satisfaction when employees are coming in, especially when you see so many employees who are looking for these hybrid and remote options. But we also see on the flip side, a lot of offices are starting to transition back into office or 3 days a week or trying to find this balance. So when employees have to come into the workspace, giving them something to look forward to is a great way to kind of offset that desire to be maybe more hybrid or remote. And then we start with the first impression. Onboarding is your employee's first impression to your company. They have done all this hard work through putting in their applications, going through the interviews, getting everything submitted. So once they're turned over to you, it's your turn to impress them. So if you didn't know, a strong onboarding experience can increase new hire retention by 82% and improve productivity by 70%. So what does this mean? Having a customized workflow based on the position you're hiring from, not having employees can do unnecessary steps or have to go through unnecessary documentation, having it really tailored to their workflow to take out some of those unnecessary steps to create a more streamlined process. Also, adding your company's personal touch. So this could be your brand colors, your logo, maybe it's welcome videos, maybe it's sheets employees fill out to put in their personal information to tell you guys a little bit about them. Just little ways that you get to make the employee feel really immersed in your culture and feel like they're being heard on their first day. Making it easy to complete onboarding process. It could be, I know coming out of college, I'm like, Mom, what do I put for this W-4? Who are these dependents? What do I put for this I-9? It can be a little confusing. So having an easy way for people to be able to manage and upload critical documentation is essential. Even with the Greenshades platform, we've been making a transition into being really mobile responsive. So even with those like complex forms, allowing employees to be able to easily, I need to fill in this space, I need to fill in this space, I need to fill in this space, instead of these long, complicated text forms. And also just the mobile responsiveness to give them the opportunity to onboard from their own convenience, on location, at home. Maybe they can stop the process and come back to it if they need to ask a question like I might have to do for my mom, or pause to go get an ID to scan in. Just going back to some of the retail experience, I had employees who have to come in for onboarding and they forgot a document. They have to go all the way back home, come all the way back the next day, and now we're getting them started work late. So having an engaging onboarding experience from day one could just make the journey a lot smoother.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it's kind of all about first impressions, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have an employee who's super excited about starting a new job. They come in for their first day, they do their onboarding, and it's a tedious experience and they're confused and everything like that. Where do you think that level of excitement goes? It goes from here way down, If you can get a consistent process that makes the employee feel at ease, it's easy, they feel engaged, they feel like they can flow right into their first day with get rid of all that nervousness. Keeping that excitement level up here just sets you up for success so much better.
And I think you said it best. It takes your excitement level from here down to the bottom. It's like they literally do all this work to impress you. They get hired and it really is your turn to impress them. So they stay on. You wanted this employee. It's time for us to show up for them with the onboarding experience.
It's almost like a first date, right?
It is.
You want to make sure you both have that, the same level, the matching level of energy and good impression. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work in the long term. And speaking of the long term, this actually is like the perfect segue, Michael. So thank you for that. As we go into employee engagement. So now that they're in your system, what are we doing from there? Especially in these remote and flexible work locations, it's important to find ways to keep your employees engaged. So through employee self-service, it's a great way to your employees, one, have access to all their payroll, HR, and tax stuff. If they're getting a new apartment, they need pay stubs that they need to prove. Instead of having to go up to the workplace, they have the convenience to pull it up themselves during year-end form time, just having access to that information. But also just like onboarding, being able to add your personal touch, so your company logo, your colors to the onboarding portal. I even talked to some customers who will use stuff inside the employee self-service, such as fillable documents. Maybe they'll be having a company event. They'll send out a fillable document for employees to enter what they can bring to the event, what kind of food they like, any food allergies, just making it a streamlined experience to keep your employees engaged. So messages, special announcements, hey, we're having a company event. Don't forget about open enrollment. Just being able to stay connected no matter the location or the schedule. Because again, just like in retail, the schedule is all over the place. I might come in the morning and not see my employees at nighttime. So making sure that they still have that communication is a great use of the self-service portal.
Yeah, definitely. And Greenshades self-service portal, I think is really great. I mean, I sell it obviously, but also as an employee for Greenshades, we use our own services for that.
Uh,
And using our portal, it's really intuitive. It's nice and easy to operate. If I need to go sign in at 11 p.m. to take a look at a pay stub or something like that, or find out some information, it's really easy to do. I can answer questions for myself, and I feel empowered by being able to use a system like that, which is really nice.
I completely agree, especially during this year of born season, literally taking my information, uploading it into TurboTax in 0.5 seconds, don't have to do all the manual labor was very convenient.
You're telling me. You're telling me. I agree.
A lot of little numbers and decimals there. So in all, technology, HR technology has a really big place in increasing that workplace satisfaction. It's not one piece of your HR technology. There's a way to use all these pieces to streamline the experience and make it a good experience for employees to retain talent, boost productivity, maintain your company reputation, and enhance your employee mental health. So now we're going to take a shift over to benefits. And so we're going to talk a little bit about traditional benefits packages. So as you know, if you have over 50 employees, you do need to offer ACA benefits. That's something you can manage aside. Most benefit softwares, I know with Greenshades, we have a benefit portal, and under our ACA portal, you're able to see real time where you're standing with your compliance for ACA year round. So you're ready to file your 1095Cs come year end. Unemployment insurance is something that varies from state to state. The specifics vary from state to state. Each state is required to offer unemployment benefits, but the specifications around it varies. Social Security and Medicaid, as we know, these are efforts to help support our retired veterans, our disabled children, and then we have family medical leave benefits. So you have up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave per year while still maintaining your job and benefits. Workers' comp is another thing that varies from state to state to help take care of our employees who may be injured. And then disability insurance. This is for employees who suffer non-work-related injuries, so stuff outside the workplace. And then, of course, with common benefits offerings, we typically see that you're going to have health insurance, dental, and vision on top of these mandatory benefits that you must offer, whether by federal or by state.
How do you figure out who you need to offer what? That's a lot to manage.
It's a lot to manage, and that's why we love benefit software to help us figure this out, because even with the ACA, as employees, compensation and situations change, maybe you change your dependents, it automatically adjusts for you, so you don't have to worry about managing it. And I don't even know how they did it before technology, because that seems like a very tedious process.
I agree. And that's the nice thing about what Greenshades does is we've had so much time in the space, over 20 years, that we now have gotten to the point where we've been here for a long time where we're compliant in every state. So you don't have to manage and track all those different compliance issues. If you're tracking an employee in that state, it's going to link up with the proper things that you need to manage with them and make sure that you're putting things in the right place and you're staying compliant and on top of things. So it's a really nice feature.
Yeah, it's a nice automated process. And so on top of our traditional benefits and our common benefits like dental, health, and vision, it's time to start getting creative with benefits. So 81% of employers believe their benefits offerings are beneficial, but we see a gap with 60% of employees who are actually saying they're satisfied with their benefits. And so why is it time to do something different? Honestly, I think a lot of employees don't understand the benefits offered to them. It's an overwhelming process, especially for people who may be new to the workforce or may have changing situations or circumstances when it comes to their health, to understand the benefits offered to them. During open enrollment, as I said earlier, I will still call my mom sometimes for her advice on choosing my benefits and making sure I'm getting the best plan for myself, even signing up for 401k and making sure I have the deductions that fit me. But then outside of that, I see other little benefits that maybe I don't understand completely. So having a way that your employees understand their benefits. And then again, like I said, they don't understand what's all available to them. So we know the basic benefits, but making sure you're having that communication about if you have these unique benefits, making sure your employees know that they have other options. And then lastly, you're not offering the benefits your employees want and need. Making sure that you're talking to your workforce, understanding some of the things that they may desire, and some of the innovative benefits that are really timely right now. Mental health is on the rise. We see it all the time. We hear the conversation all the time. Student loans kicking back into effect. We see a lot of, especially millennials and younger generations, struggling to keep up with some of these student loans. Wellness programs, ways to help bring down your benefits costs while also supporting your own personal holistic well-being. Educational assistance, pet benefits. Love this one. I have a dog, and I can't claim him as a dependent. So if I can give up some benefits, that's great. And then earned wage access, as we kind of talked about before, just helping employees through those tough economic situations.
Love the pet benefits thing. It's such a great thing. It actually saved me one time too. I had an issue with my dog, and it saved me a lot of money having that benefit.
Yes, my dog was limping, and the second I took him to the vet, he got up and started running, and I was like, so you ran me a bill for no reason, but those pet benefits at least made the bill a little cheaper, so I'll take it.
Yeah, my dog, she had a foxtail that went in her eye, and they had to remove it and everything like that to save her eye, and it would have been like $800, and it cost me like less than $100 with the benefits. It was great.
Yeah, the benefits are great. You need them for the pets too. There are children, so what else do you do? Yeah. So when you want to implement these innovative benefit offerings, there's a couple of things that can be helpful. So one, doing your research, looking at the industry. Oh my gosh. So we see earned wage access. I know I mentioned it a few times. It's taking over retail and fast food. Why? Because it is competitive. Sign-on bonuses. I know if you guys have been to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or Burger King, and you see start today, get $200. So just exploring the industry, knowing how to be competitive. When I was in retail, Amazon opened down the street. It was taking a lot of my business. So I had to reevaluate, what can I offer my employees with their pay? I don't have the autonomy to do too much with benefits, but what can I do to keep my employees? Listening to your workforce, so surveying them, talking to them, understanding what their core needs are and what you can do to help them. Engaging your team, so your managers, your leadership, the people who are with your employees all the time, picking their brain, they're having conversations, and even if they don't notice that they're retaining what their employees really want, they may be in small conversation and they don't know it until they speak to you. Implementing software. So as we talked about a little bit about Greenshades, having software that can support your mandatory benefits, that gives you the flexibility to offer voluntary benefits, to create personalized programs based off of what employees are eligible for. Just having that flexibility, the employees are able to, one, see all the benefits offered to them, and two, the software is intuitive enough that they can understand their benefits and break it down and compare different plans. So software is a big piece of this. It can help implement these innovative benefit offerings for your employees. And then lastly, we wanted to include something that you guys can take away today. So the Adams Project is one of our marketplace partners. My HR Best Practices is one of their offerings. And what this is a free mental health resource for your employees. And what I love about this resource is you don't have to enter any personal information. It's not anything you have to do through your employer. It's just free articles, videos, podcasts, advice, just a nice system for employees who may need just that little extra help. You never know what your employees are going through. So what I love about this is something you can share with them and let them just kind of take the reins if they don't feel comfortable opening up. Like I said, they don't have to put in a whole bunch of personal information. It's really confidential and just free resources. I think it's very helpful and something that you can bring back to your team.
This is really awesome. It's nice to have something like this, especially as a free resource. It's like a great place, a safe place to go for your employees.
Yeah, especially as we talked about the economic uncertainty, therapy, everything can be kind of expensive. And if it's not offered through your employer, this is something that employees can or a resource they can share with their friends, their family members. Mental health is an ongoing conversation. I think touches so many communities and so many people. So even if your employees may not need it, telling them about this may be something that they can give to somebody they care about or love. Really great. Now we're going to have a nice wrap up. Thank you guys again for coming. We have a few key takeaways for you guys. So one, understand your workforce, understand their needs, understand their desires, understand your competition, And then from there, you can start thinking of strategies to help cater to them. So finding that enhanced flexibility, so finding creative ways to engage them once you've done that research, your development programs, mental health resources, competitive benefits offerings, whatever suits your workforce. And then lastly, just finding the right software that can help support. So we have Greenshades. Of course, we offer payroll, HR, benefits, tax and compliance, and time management. So when it comes to payroll, we do offer that in-house flexibility to pay your employees on a schedule that fits them and to allow you to pay them in those unique ways that you can go back and look at that information. So whether it's piecework, tips, the project management, our HR platform is able to manage your onboarding, employee self-service, certification management, and more. Our benefits platform is flexible to take care of ACA compliance and allow you to craft the benefits packages that are unique to your business. And then we help with that PTS, so payroll tax filing, as well as your form filing and making sure that your labor is submitted on time through your employees.
All right. Well, that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much and have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Jerica. Thank you, everyone.